All right, so the other thing I want to share quick is there's free CE being offered from Texas Realtors, and it's not on forms. Go figure. It's awesome. But there's free CE. It's on solar, water, and green features. And I'll throw this link in the chat for you so you can go in and grab it if you want it. But one of the ones that is on here is on solar panels. This you can see this one. This is actually, if you open it up, this is what it has. A couple of these classes already passed, but there's one today on solar power. Heat is on, selling homes with solar. That's today at 1 to 2, from 1 to 2. So you can go in and register for these. There's smart water. There's people talking about using the smart water heaters and et cetera like that. And then the Good Bones was on September the 30th, so we missed that one. But there's some in here that you can do. It's free CE. Texas Realtors is offering it, focusing on the things that are actually becoming more common, more of an issue, if you will. Any questions on that one? The link is in the chat for you if you're interested in signing up for it. All right. I think I've shared this one in the past, but I want to throw out one more time. Just one more time. So this offers email content. And again, based on things from the weekend, this header right here where it says the ROI of a realtor, that's where you can download the email header, and then here's the content, right? And then you can make it yours for email or for social, whatever or add your social to it. But when you download it, you click on download the header. That's all getting is the first part. So you have to copy and paste the rest of it if you want it. But it gives you the header so that it'll fit for you. And they have 3 of them in here that you could possibly use, right? And this is, again, this is put out by Texas Realtors. Any questions there? Nope. All right. So, do any of you remember this from Saturday? Anybody? Nobody? Yes? Oh, thanks,
Yes,
Marla.
Yes.
All right, awesome, good deal. Scare me there for a minute. Wow. The first off, the name I think says a lot, right? You have REMAXelite.realtor. So that's who we are, that's what we're about. We want to make sure we stay focused with this. When Nina demoed this on Saturday, she talked about the agent hub, right? Which is one of the focuses on this. When you look at the agent hub, you have the different tiles for the offices. So we have that aspect of it, right? If you click on agent hub even, it's going to take you into this part of it. If I click on agent hub, we have all these different tiles. If I click on the agent hub itself, we have all the different tiles for the MLSs. She demoed all this, right? She showed you this is in there. You have all the different tiles for the MLSs, et cetera, that's available in here, right? So that's there. But I also wanted to show you that if you click on Max Tech, and mine might look a little different than yours does, but if you click on Max Tech, it gives you the Design Center, KV Core, and the listing machine right at the top. So you can go in. Now, some of these you're not going to have access to without logging in, right? Obviously, like KV Core, you have to be a member of REMAX Elite to be able to have access to that, right? But down at the bottom of this, and this is why I'm really showing this portion to you, is it's how to upload your contacts. So if you have not uploaded your contacts into KV Core, that should have been the first step. But it walks you through exactly how to do it. And they have videos on here. You can do it or you can have them do it. But there's a video on here on how to do that. All of that's at the bottom of that Max Tech. If you just scroll down to the bottom, it's how to get your contacts in there. So you can take them from Outlook or Google or wherever you have them at, put them in an Excel spreadsheet, and then upload them on here. Or again, and there's videos on how to do that. Or again, you can have them do it for you. You're going to need it in Excel spreadsheet though.
Mac.
Yes. Go ahead.
So I think the easiest way you can, I mean, if you have an Android, super easy. If you have an Android, super easy because you already have all of your contacts there in your Gmail account and you can link it very easily. If you have an iPhone, then it takes just one extra step, which would be to download an app that will convert all of your iPhone contacts into your Gmail, and then you connect it that way. It's super, super easy. And yeah, absolutely. I think that's the first thing you need to do with KV Core is get all your contacts in there.
Yes, absolutely. And so one of the other comments that's made on this when you go into the tech side of it is they have a set format. And if you do it yourself, and I did this back when we had Booch. If I download things from Outlook, for example, into an Excel spreadsheet and try to upload them, if it's not in the exact same format, it messes things up, right? So that's one of the reasons why sometimes it may be easier just to have them do it for you. But yes, it's not that difficult to do it, and we do have people that know how to do that within the company. If you need help, just reach out and we'll get things taken care of. The other thing I wanted to, thanks Alex, appreciate it. On the events here, we also have the if you click on events, this is tied right to your Remax.net. So you have all the classes that they have available to you in building your business. Like this one is working on expireds. And by the way, if you are chasing expireds, I know some of you in here may be doing that. If you're chasing expireds, you need to check MLS. And what I mean by that is, I've even said, obviously I'll chase expires from today, but I'll also check expires from 3 months ago or 6 months ago or a year ago. But I'm not going to just pull those expireds and start calling people. I want to pull those expireds and check them against MLS today. Because if I don't, I may be calling people who have relisted, right? And you don't want to get in that. And if you actually are doing that and you call somebody who's relisted and they say, hey, I'm listed with Mac McFarland, all you have to do is say, okay, I wish you the best of luck and hang up, right? Leave it like that. Don't try to, don't try to persuade them to come with you, because that might get into the unethical side of things. I got a phone call yesterday. All right, anybody have any other questions on this? Comments on it? I just wanted to touch base on it again, once again, for some that weren't there, and for those of you that were, just to hit a couple of extra spots on this. We're good? All right. So I'm going to tie into this. This is NAR put this out. It's the highlights from the NAR member profile, and we're talking about your goals, your business. What do you want to do? How you want to do it? That kind of thing. And so I want to tie into this so that we can take a look at these are national numbers, right? It's from the NAR stats, NAR survey. If you have any questions about it, as I go through it, certainly ask. If you take a look at this very first one, for example, 65% of the realtors nationwide were actual sales agents, 65%. And when we're looking at this as well, 73% of the realtors felt that they would still be active in the next 2 years. That's not, in my opinion, really good. And if any of you are not sure about what's going on and what direction you want to go, let's talk about it, right? This business is absolutely awesome. And I think that Vicki Leggett at Saturday said it the best. It's a routine. You just get used to it. There's going to be ups and downs in the business. You have to plan accordingly. The biggest thing is, as an agent used to say back in 2006, 7, 8, when the market crashed, supposedly, somebody would ask an agent, this one agent that I know, how's business? And the response was, great if you've been working. And that's real. If you've been working, if you're using systems to get where you need to be, you're always going to be okay. You might have to pick up a little bit on the prospecting side, but you'll be okay, right? You'll continue to go. Here's another one from NAR on these stats when we take a look at it. When we talk about business activity, 26% of the agents that were surveyed on this said that the lack of inventory and housing affordability did cause issues with the market, had some issues within the market, right? But some of the other stats that go with this is 35, or the typical realtor said they worked 35 hours per week. 35 hours a week. This is your business. And if you take a look, I don't remember the name of the book. Mary Kay Cosmetics, the lady that created that company, there was a book that she had put out that where CEOs and entrepreneurs talked about working 60 to 80 hours a week because it's your business, right? And especially at the beginning of that. You don't have to. I'm just saying it's your business, right? If you want to be successful, there's a lot of times there's a price you have to pay for it. And we're going to tie this right in with where we're going with this. And then on here, for example, one of the other things that it has on here is that the fact that 20% of the business came from repeat clients. 21% came from referrals. And Matthew addressed that on Saturday. Referrals are a big part of this. And we've thrown out things like we're not talking necessarily all referrals coming from your sphere of influence, but other people, right? Everybody you meet has the potential for real estate. Who do they know that's talking about real estate? And if they do, are you going to get that referral, right? And there's ways to work that. The other thing is you should know realtors within a 200-mile radius of your office. Not all of them necessarily, but some of the top producers or reaching out to them. And I've shared with you, there's a agent in San Antonio that I get newsletters from. I have no idea where I met him at it or where the connection was today, but I get information from them on a regular basis. There's a CRS agent in Seattle, Washington that sends me market updates for Seattle. Met him in a class, but I'm on his drip mail campaign, right? So you should have the same type of thing. You want to stay in touch with those agents because you're looking at the referral side. 21% through referrals, 20 from repeat clients. And here's another one. 35% of the realtors were compensated under a fixed commission split. And you'll hear people talk about different aspects. At the end of the year, for those of you that have been in the business less than 2 years, the end of the year is when a lot of agents want to move. They want to take a look at what's going on for next year. They're looking at their plan, they're looking at their schedules, and they'll decide they want to make a move. What you find is that some things are not laid out correctly. Like there's a company I know of that's always saying our agents make 100% of the commission. Right, but they get charged for everything. Right, so you're not really making it if you're spending it that way. Like I said, they get charged for everything. And then the other thing that it had on here, the largest expense category for realtors was their vehicle, which the average on that was $1,650 a year. We take a look at this, and again, I'm trying to tie this in with what we're trying to do with the planning aspect. You need to take a look at where you're at, where you want to go for next year. How are you going to get there, right? Here's my goal. How am I going to get there? What am I working on? And 53% of the realtors said they were affiliated with an independent company. 88% were independent contractors. And then this one is one I absolutely loved when I looked at it, because I'm like, what in the world are you thinking? 96% of the realtors said they used a smartphone every day. 96%. 72% said they had a website. Folks, you have a website. Every one of you have a website. Whether you're using it or not might be a different story. Whether it's built out the way you want it to be built out is another story. But every one of you have a website, right? And one of the other stats that came off of this one was the most realtors were most active, right? Professional use. Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram were the three sites. Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram were the three sites that most realtors were using for that professional activity. But here's another one that I think is real important, especially when you talk about what Terry was talking about, that experience. Reaching your clients. How did you communicate with the clients? And in that survey, 94% said text messages, 91 telephone, 89 email. But is that what they want? So when we talk about that experience, I would ask you to ask them, what's the best way for me to communicate with you? what system do you want me to use to communicate with you? And please keep that in mind as you're working with it. What's important to them is what we want to deliver, right? And we've said that in the past. All of us get random text messages, friend requests, all this other stuff with no explanation. And it's better to have their permission to do that and communicate with them that way. I mentioned Nancy Anderson, for example. My main way of communicating with Nancy is through Facebook. There's a lender out of San Antonio. My main way for communicating with her is through Facebook. They're on there. It works. It's quick. I don't have to worry about text messages going different places or any of that other good stuff. Or like that random text or call. I got a call yesterday morning, early in the morning, from one of my past clients years ago. He just completed the Berlin Marathon. When I answered the phone, he's like, Mac, I have no idea how this happened. But just one of them things. Right. All right, on here you have the demographic for the characteristics. We're looking at 55. The typical realtor was 55-year-old white female. Now, obviously, this didn't come from the Valley. This is overall, right? Overall. But 65% of all realtors were female, which is up from 62 the year before. 65% of all realtors are female. The majority of realtors, 85% own their primary residence, and 39% own a secondary property. And there's a lot of agents that get in this business for that purpose. But especially initially, probably throughout, if you plan on staying in this for a while, your focus should be on the consumer. Any questions on any of those numbers? And if anybody wants that, it's on that report. Pause this for a second. You can find that report on NAR's website. You just go to research and statistics, and that's where it's at. It's highlights of the member profile. Any questions there? Right. So I'm going to play a video for you real quick that just real quick, about a minute of it, that Terry Watson mentioned. And some of you may have seen it because I believe, in my memory at least, that I've played this before, just a little bit of it. And I'll share the link with you as well. But just the first part of it. In the video itself, the photos, the video itself is not that great. But just listen to the first minute or so of it here.
I want to talk a little bit about goals on the line of how do you lose 37 pounds and write a book. I'm just going to kind of give you that as an example. For 24 years of my adult life, by choice, I weighed well over 200 pounds. I say by choice because, you see, I have never accidentally eaten anything. I mean, it's always been deliberate. And when I choose to eat too much today, I have chosen to weigh too much tomorrow. You can choose to set goals and realize your potential, or you can choose not to set them. Now, if you choose not to set them, you got to understand that the consequences are not going to be good down the road. For 24 years, I was going to lose that weight. As a matter of fact, in 24 years, I lost several thousand pounds of weight. How many of you already know exactly what I'm talking about? But it wasn't until I wrote it down, put a date on it, listed the obstacles I had to overcome, identified the people, the groups, the organizations I needed to work with, spelled out a plan of action, set that time limit in there, and identified all of the benefits to me. It was only when I did that that the goal became a reality, and I lost the weight. For 10 or 15 years, I was gone.
All right. Again, I just want to share that with you strictly because of the fact that, well, not strictly because,
On a ride
but
book, you know anybody
me
who's
close
done
this,
just
hold
a
on.
whole lot of things, folks.
Terry had mentioned Ziegler's video on goals. It's on YouTube. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, there. It's on YouTube. You can find others on there as well. That's one I like because Nightingale is the one that actually he used to do a lot of speaking with them and through them. So anyway, any questions on that one? Good. All right. So let me give me just a second. So in the chat, I just threw the fillable workbook in the chat. It's the same one that's on the calendar, so you can grab it from there. Either one, actually. And I wanted to just touch base on just a few things with this. I'm going to need one volunteer as I go through this in just a moment, so you can think about that. But I want to touch base on this. So when I'm done with this, I'll share this one with you as well. The workbook is in there. If you have not even started it, one of the reasons why I really love this time of the year is because it gives us a chance to start planning a little bit for what we're going to do next year. Now, all of this ties together. There's different ways of doing this, but one aspect of this is, where do you want to be next year? What do you want to accomplish? And you can bring that down. We've shared the 12-week year, right, where you focus on just the 12 weeks, which is absolutely awesome. But most of the videos, most of the things you see on it, you need to have a base. And there's things that you as a person should not miss. And the only way you're not going to miss that is by putting it on a yearly plan, like birthdays, anniversaries, things like that, things that are important to you, things that happen on a regular basis. And then, which is, again, that's one of the reasons why I like Google Calendar. I can put it on one time. I can put it on there as repeat. I don't ever have to think about it again. It's going to tell me what I need to do from day to day, which works really well. But as an agent, when we're looking at production and other things that we want to go with, identifying your aspirations is really important. What do you want out of this? What do you expect to accomplish? And on these, if you use this, and we've talked about this when we do the core courses as well, but when you use this, what do you want, desire, or passion? What's the want, desire, or passion? And when we talk about want, it's something that would be nice, but I haven't really done anything to get there, right? I'd like to do that, but not there. Passion is something I'm willing to suffer in order to achieve, right? So there's a huge difference there in what you have going on. So you can list those items. It's like an Excel spreadsheet, so you can put them in here. You mark them. What is it? Right? You can identify what it is. Is it a want, desire, or passion? And then what's it going to cost to get there? Estimated cost. That's all it is, right? So it's trying to give you an idea of what you need to get where you want to be. That's what it's trying to do. You also have a personal budget. Please take a look at this, especially if you've been in the business less than 2 years. Take a look at this. You have your personal budget, and then you have your business budget, and you want to work off of that. It's October. It's October. Yes. Right? What happens in December besides Christmas for some of us? Anybody? Those of you that's been in business a year or two, what happens in December? Or
It could
3?
slow down.
It slow down. It slows down. Okay. Karen, you look like you're trying to say something. No.
We get our bills from NAR.
Thanks, Nina. Yes, we have our annual dues, NAR, Texas Realtors, and your board. And almost all of them are due at the end of the year, not January. Some boards still have it set up where they're due in January, but most of them are due at the end of the year, which is why you'll hear me say all the time, I hate December. Because there's a lot that goes with that. And if you have designations or certifications, ABR, CRS, in my case, SRS, those are all due at the end of the year as well. Those are all things we take a look at. So when we talk about personal and business, you need to have a budget for it to make it work. Then you have the financial model. And this is where I'd like to get a volunteer if I could. Please, anybody just want to jump in? You can work on this real quick. One volunteer. Just off the wall.
I'll do it.
Thanks, ma'am. Appreciate that. So, and this is just off the wall, is all it is, but you can just stay unmuted. We'll run through this. So on this one, and this is the part, some of you heard me say this, coming to Remax, finding this tool, because I had something similar to this system, but finding this makes life, in my mind, so much easier for the agent if they'll just use this. Ma'am, what would you have as a desired profit? Just, and it doesn't matter a whole lot, but let's realistically kind of sort of, what would you have as a desired profit?
Is that just gonna be by the end of the year, or is that like for a whole year?
I'd rather take it for a year. We'll take a
Okay.
look at next year, but you can do this. For those of you that are listening to this, you can do this. What do I need to do between now and the end of the year? If you've not done this, you can absolutely do it. What do you expect between now and the end of the year? Right? Because you
Okay.
should be putting a push on going into next year. But let's go ahead and just take, what would you expect for a year for next year?
Let's just say 60,000.
60,000 is your desired profit?
Yeah,
Okay.
my first year, so let's let's try to go there at least.
It's okay. It's okay. So to get that as your profit, what do you think you're gonna have to budget as an expenses for expenses?
Maybe about 10%, which would be at least 6,000. I don't know.
Anybody have any comments about that?
But is that monthly or yearly?
This is for the year. It's for the year. It's for the year. So she's looking at her profit, not her gross, her profit being 60,000 for next year. She's expecting to spend about 6,000 on expenses when we take a look at this. Where did you go? Nope. Lost somebody. All right, and if we run the average commission rate, anybody want to tell me what the average commission rate, what do you think your average commission rate is, ma'am?
About 2.53, because I guess now if you're doing the buyer, it might be the 4% or the 6% and half and half.
Let's go with 2.5. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Ooh, not 205, 2.5.
That would be good.
Yeah, that would be. All right, so what is in your market, what you've been working right now? You can make changes going into next year, but based on what you're working right now, what is your average sales price?
About 300, 25, 300.
All right, so I've done this kind of stuff for years, since the 80s, right? And just so this is for all of you, I always plan for more, right? I want more. So like, and this is good. This is really good. But like, for example, when I would do my planning for this on the percentage on the commission, I would use the 2 or the 2.5 versus what I may be getting on average, and you're not going to get higher than that as an average, in my opinion, in most cases. And when you're talking about the average sales price, who's in charge of the average sales price? Who's in charge of that? Or was that
The
Ruby?
market?
The seller.
Okay, but these are my goals. It's my average sales price. So who's in charge of it?
It's the
Me.
market you're working.
It's the market I'm working. So I'm the one that's in charge of it, right? And when like I've said in some of the classes, my average sales price was around 80,000. Whose choice is that? That's mine. That's all mine, right? If I wanted to work a higher, where I had a higher average sales price, then I need to change the market I'm working in. Does that make sense? So that's why I say when you're looking at this, you could be in this market today, but I could plan for more next year, right? As long as I have a way to get there, you should be okay. But what is your plan in trying to get there? So when you look at this runs everything out for you. So she only needs to get that 60,000. She only needs 9 transactions. That causes my anxiety to go crazy. I'm going to tell you, that's not even one a month, right? But it's okay. That's you and your market, and that's what these are. Your goals. When you're looking at this is what you need. And this entrepreneur's mantra, which is at the bottom, is something I would ask each and every one of you to focus on. It's unacceptable for my business to profit less than this. And again, that's something that comes with this momentum package. It's something that you can focus on because you're trying to build your business, right? So, ma'am, you said this is what you had on yours. We're just working out a rough, but you need 9 transactions. Where are you going to get the transactions from? What activity do you use currently? Is it buyers or sellers?
Both. I have one seller, and then I have buyers that I'm working with. I have about 5 of them. I have 5 of them for sure that I have a contract with.
Okay, so are your efforts more focused on buyers than it is on sellers as far as
Yeah.
trying to generate leads?
Yes, yes. I think for me it's easier to get a buyer than a seller.
Okay.
But yeah,
All right.
as I
All right. So if you had to put a percentage on it, what percentage, or out of the 9 transactions, how many of those do you think you can get from a buyer side?
about 7.
7? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So the reason I asked that is when you click on the next tab of this, you're going to have the opportunity to do that right here.
Okay.
So you're getting 7 from the buyer side and 2 from
Uh-huh.
the seller side, right? So on the buyer side, you have the prospecting activities on the left-hand side of the screen. Yeah, the prospecting activities. Which one of those would you say is your primary focus for getting buyers?
Probably it's the internet websites. Also I've been doing the open houses. And I've done some of the, of course, Remax, and then I think I've done a couple of them for the networking, for the
Networking?
for the buyers. Yeah, networking. Mhm.
Okay, so if I heard everything correctly, you had internet, open house, Remax, and networking, right?
Yes.
Out of those
Mhm.
out of those four, which one do you think is your strongest activity?
Networking. Networking.
So let's go to networking then. Out of the 7 buyers you need to get closed, how many do you think you'll get from networking?
Probably 5.
5? Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so then we need a couple more here. What other activity you had? Open house, Remax.
Open house. Yeah.
Open house.
Yeah. Open house, maybe about 1 or 2.
Okay. All
I
right.
think Remax. I mean, I'm already going to be past what I have, but I mean, eventually it is to have more than what is on there, right? Because the goals that I set are really kind of low. I guess starting, I really set myself with smaller goals, thinking of I want to be able to accomplish them and be realistic goals right now that I'm learning. Yeah.
Yes. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're aware of it and you sound like you are, so we can always improve, right? We can always go up.
Yes.
and-
Yeah.
and shoot for more. But we want to get started on the right foot. So I'll go ahead and on open house, I'll plug in one, and you want to plug in one on internet?
Probably on Remax because maybe my internet and that could be based on networking as well, but more of like Remax and the calls whenever we do the calling.
Right.
Phone tag.
So here's what I offer all of you. The ones, this is your source for leads. And it doesn't matter, in my opinion, whether it's the buyer side or the seller side. The items that are at the top, the networking, the FSBOs, the expires, the open house, the farming, are things that you are going to generate more than anything else. You have control on that, right? The items that are at the bottom, you don't really have as much control of. And if this is your production, you want to be in control of. This is my opinion of this based on doing these kind of things. So I let her select which one she wants because it's hers, right? But I would feel as trying to help somebody, I feel more comfortable putting 2 at open house than having one on Remax. Because can you control the lead you get from Remax? No.
No.
Right? So that's the icing on the cake, if you will. It's not something I can go out and generate. Although there are some things I can do, like boosting listings and that concierge service they have now. There's things I can do to get those leads, but it's not something I have total control over. Does that make sense? Open houses, I can do an open house every weekend. I can market that open house. The networking, I can attend all the different functions. I can do what needs to be done. And when I say functions, I'm not just talking about functions for the company or for the board or for the state association type deals, but functions for title companies, mortgage companies, EDC, Chamber of Commerce, any business that's having a grand opening. If you're tied into the Chamber of Commerce, anytime there's a business having a grand opening, you should be there in the crowd. Things like that. You can generate those by your activity instead of relying on some other source. Everybody follow that? We're going to go ahead and work on this just like this is. So when you go from the operational model, you want to go to, we're going to go to the buyer side. Now I want you to look at this. See on the listing where everything is all darkened, right? On the listing side of this, we go to the buyer side because we plug numbers in, that's going to open up. And for those of you that have not worked through this, I would encourage you to please do that. And again, when I finish here, I'll share this actual sheet with you if you don't have it so that you can work on it a little more. But we're going to take the networking because that's our primary one. And we're going to go down to the bottom. And on the bottom here, you have where it says network, you have percentages. And this is put together again by Remax. It's part of the Momentum package. So these are national type numbers. Remember on the left, like on the first one, closed percentage is 90%. That's for your newer average, basically, right? Or if you take the acceptance rate, newer average, above average, and then excellent. Those are the 3 numbers. I don't care how long you've been in the business. In my opinion, here's some stats. I'm going to go to newer average because that means I'll overproduce. Does that make sense? If I take excellent, the system is going to fine tune and say, this is all I need. But if anything goes wrong, then I may come up short, right? And the system allows for that a little bit, right? Statistically, but I don't want to be short. So this is just me. So that makes a little bit of sense to you while I'm plugging in these numbers. You're going to take her numbers and you're going to plug them in up here at the top, right? So the first 3 are 90, 85, 85. So as a Marine recruiter, we had an obligation of finding 3 new people per month, right? And
Yeah.
in the office,
Yes.
on the office that I ran, after I had done my thing with it, what I found was setting the numbers up. So if I had a mission of 3, I put my goals like this. I set it on 6. I set all my prospecting activities on 6. Because you're going to have one that's going to change their mind. You're going to have one that's not going to pass the test. You're going to have one that doesn't make the physical. And I'll end up with 3. I'll be a hero. Right? That's the way it's supposed to work. And I did that with all the recruiters that I had working with me as well. And we had an awesome time with it. So just understand the numbers when I say that, going back to the average or a newer average. It's not anything about you, it's about the numbers and using the system for your benefit. Let's see. So,
So that kind of will give me how many I'm supposed to kind of do, right?
yes, ma'am. And that's the whole purpose of this. Because we want to focus on what are our activities going to have to be. So on this one, we're talking about networking. How many months do you plan on working next year? 12
How many,
months?
no, months, I'll probably do 9.
You
Because
only
the
go-
summer with the kids stuff, normally on the other 3 months, I'm out of town or I'm up and about, so. I mean, the extra days, I'll get into it, but
Okay.
probably 9.
And again, that's where this comes into play because it allows you to take a look at that. It allows you to take a look at that. So you see what needs to be done there. And then when you go here, the weekly buyer accountability standards, number of weeks per year committed to business. Number of weeks per year,
So if there's 52 weeks in a year, and then I'm gonna do, well, 4 times 9 is gonna be 36.
right? Okay, so 36 weeks, you said?
Yes, 36 weeks.
Okay. And how many days of the week do you want to be committed to business?
I'll do 4.
4 days a week. So remember,
Actually, it'll probably be more than that, but yeah, let's do 4. Let's do 4 just in case.
four's fine. When you're also taking care of a family, sometimes that can be crazy, but what you'll find, at least in my experience, what you'll find is you're able to do both. But when you're trying to put a plan together, this makes a lot of sense. So what this is saying, for you to get where you need to be, which was, again, looking at the operational model, you wanted 5 closings from buyers, from networking, 5 network closes from buyers. So based on that, all you need to do is attempt to talk to 2 people a week at networking. 2 a week. That's it. That's one
Okay.
event a
That
week.
makes it super easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I love about it, because when you first look at this, it says you have to talk to 243 people. It's like, oh my gosh, there's no way I'm going to do that. But when you start breaking it down and looking at the percentages and what you actually need to do, it makes it so easy to follow through on. Right. And this is exactly the same type of thing I used back in the 80s. It works for you if you'll just allow it to do that. It has all the formulas in here. And by the way, the formulas are on the right-hand side. If you have issues with them or don't understand them or you have questions about them, you can always reach out. These are the same type of things we used to use. I wish I would have had this years ago. But as a producing agent, I wish I would have had something like this. The system I had, I knew what I needed for the month. I knew what I needed for the year, but to be able to break it down on weeks and days, it's a whole different ballgame. Whole different ballgame. All right. So for the rest of you that are watching this, if you use this, it will help you get where you need to be. And remember, the ultimate goal is to help you achieve what it is you're wanting to achieve. And then you'll run this on every one of your activities. Most of us lean one way or the other. Listing side, buyer side. Where's your strength at? You may have transactions from both, but what is your focus? Right? And as a listing agent, as that was my focus, was as a listing agent, did I pick up buyers? Yes. Didn't always work with them. I hand them off to somebody else a lot of times, but at the beginning, I absolutely worked with them, right? In fact, at the beginning, I was more of a buyer's agent than I was a listing agent. You had to work into that. But that's where this tool comes into play. Anybody have any questions on this one? I'm going to stop the share on this. Anybody have any questions about this one? So I love the comments in the chat. Obviously a difference in perspective. End of the year, between now and December, into December, what do you have? You got Carlos Crunch Time and my man Gabino, who did an awesome job on the stage the other day. Vacation mode, right? And unfortunately, I'm one of those people, I don't know what that means. Vacation, what is that? Work all the time.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike, for sharing this. I know we had seen it already previously, not too long ago, but it helped me to kind of. I sometimes overstress myself, like you said, with the duties of mom and the kids being small and then having to do this. It kind of overstresses me sometimes. And doing this and being able to have a mental picture of it, it kind of helps me say, "Hey, it's doable. You can do it." Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. The whole idea behind this is it's October, right? We want to make sure we have a plan for next year. You not a detailed plan. You don't need a detailed plan, but you need to know what is your goal for next year? What am I trying to achieve? And then how am I going to get there? And you need to have some kind of an idea. Like if my goal is to write 5 contracts, get 5 contracts from buyers, where am I going to get them at? And by looking at, okay, networking, all right, so I need to do networking. Where can I find those events at? Right? If I'm going to do networking, what events am I going to attend? What events do I want to attend? And where can I find those buyers at? And again, it may not be the person, just like we used to attend all the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce events. I don't even speak Spanish, right? But I'd go to their events because I'm not looking for whether this person's buying or selling, but who do they know, right? You're there socializing, getting to know people. What I found a lot of there were builders, for example. But getting involved in what's going on that way will get the networking going for you. So your goal, here's where I want to be. How am I going to get there is important in the basic layout, right? And then you take, in my opinion, take the 12-week year and say, okay, I'm going to focus on the next 12 weeks. This is what I want to accomplish. And what we do when we focus a lot of times is we overachieve with it, right? So you'll get up higher than where you want to be if you allow that to happen. How many of you know, how many of you know Marky Lemons? Anybody? Anybody? Nope. Just do this one real quick. She runs podcasts and different things where you pick up ideas and how to do some of this business as well. So when I'm talking about doing some of this, I'm not. I'll share this with you. So these are some of it's Social Selling Made Simple. That's her site. Social Selling Made. She does podcasts, and these are all podcasts that you can go back and listen to. Like here's how to retain your clients. There's a variety of ones in here that you can take a look at or listen to podcasts, right? Listen to. And the reason I want to share this with you is because this is not my schedule. This is hers. And that is right here. So what I'm talking about is you're building, here's my plan, and here's how I'm going to get there, right? So I need 5 buyers from networking. I need 5 buyers. I want to get it from networking. So that's the second step. I'm going to get them from networking. Now, how is that networking going to work? What events am I going to go to? Who am I going to reach out to? What do I want to follow? And networking could be, you can even go to Texas Realtors events as long as you're socializing and not staying in your room or at the bar, or you can go to Texas or the NAR's events. And again, the same thing there. You can network, you get to know people. We have agents in the company that have done that extremely well, where they know agents from different parts of the state or different parts of the country, and they're getting referrals from them. The same thing Matthew was talking about on the stage on Saturday. you want to do some of this so that you can grow your business. That's reaching the goals. I share this one with you because Marky put this out. I actually have the link to it on my calendar so I can look at it once in a while. I share it with you. This is not, again, not my schedule. However, it makes a lot of sense. I just want to show you this when we're talking about planning, right? Your aspect of this. Every day, she pretty much has the same type of thing starting out. 8x8 is your 8x8 leads. Everybody you put in the system, everybody new you put in the system, you reach out to them once a week for 8 weeks. That's 8x8. So that's getting worked on first thing in the morning, right? Then you have the power hour, which is you doing some telephone calls to people and things like that. You can see here, everybody can see this okay? She has client appointments. Like on Wednesday, it's 1 to 3, 1 and 3 o'clock. And then on 6 o'clock, she has Facebook Live. On Tuesdays, 1 and 3, client appointments. On Thursday, 1 and 3, client appointments. That's systematically doing this business. Systematically. Are you going to meet everybody's needs by having appointments at 1 and 3? Probably not. You're going to have some knucklehead that goes, oh no, I can't meet you until 6 o'clock, right? And you have to make a decision. And that's one of the things Terry shared up there on Saturday. You have to make a decision how you want to operate there, right? That's your decision. Social media posting, everything's on here as a guide to get things done that need to be done. That's it, just a guide. And if anybody wanted, I would share this link with you as well. But she has a lot of things on here, but every day is pretty much the same thing. If you take a look at it, you have hot leads in your database, you have social call status, a variety of things. Okay. Any questions on that?